It's been 3.5 weeks since I last uploaded. It's getting close to a month. I've never been this inconsistent. I don't remember exactly how long it takes between uploads, but it doesn't take this long, especially for this quality of video. I mean, it's not like I've been editing for the last 3 weeks. But I didn't make a script for this video because I figured if I made a script, I would just talk looking at the screen. And I don't want to do that anymore. You know why? Because I want it to be authentic. I want it to be acoustic. I want this shit to be funny. And as much as I am funny, I just can't write jokes, not yet at least. And so I decided that I was just going to ramble on into the mic for about 8 or 9 minutes until I lose my shit completely, because even though the show is not airing anymore, I am still losing my goddamn mind at Instagram, TikTok, and all those other edits that you keep finding. And for some reason, these people have been glorifying these characters, especially the women, which is the topic of today's video. They've been glorifying these as they're some really deep characters and all that shit. It's like, nuh-uh. These people are barely people. They're not even characters. As a matter of fact, I would consider them less interesting than stick figures. Would you? Doesn't matter, because I would. But in the name of competency, I decided that I'm going to tell you everything that I feel like is wrong with all the female characters in House of the Dragon, because there's plenty of it wrong. Alright? And I'm going to begin by talking about the main character, Rhaenyra. Alright? Rhaenyra is the most bland, boring, and competent character I've ever seen in any goddamn TV show. You know how Condell and Hess keep going back about how, oh, the dance is about castles and armies and dragons, but it's just about these two women. And then they write Rhaenyra. You know, the woman who accomplished nothing in Season 2 except for giving away her inheritance to two randoms? Yeah, that is the character I'm supposed to root for. Rhaenyra's entire vocabulary consists of father, Song of Ice and Fire, what would you have me do, and some other word. Oh yeah, kissing a woman after she just told that her father used to abuse her. Yeah, that's all Rhaenyra did. Oh, also, there was that retarded sept scene in which she went into the enemy's capital and then tried to bargain for the lives of her family and all the people who were going to die. Oh, God, give me a break. This character is so dull. Holy shit. Every line she says, it's like, oh, let's try to see what makes her worse. Huh? And then this idiot has Alicent in her chambers and she doesn't capture her. Huh? What is it with these two morons not capturing the other party? Alicent, no, I'm not going to talk about Alicent yet. Alright, I'm just going to talk about Rhaenyra. Alright? What have I not mentioned? Well, there really isn't a lot to mention. I mean, she's dull, bland, boring. She has no characteristics. I mean, there is no ambition to her. Where is the drive that makes characters in the Song of Ice and Fire story so fun? Where is that drive? I mean, I get that they're setting her up to be this sort of failed messiah, even if they're planning on setting her up that way, but if they are, then there still needs to be some oomph to it. You know, there needs to be some vigor, some character, some goddamn power behind her action. You can't just have her keep saying shit like, what would you have me do? And I don't want for the death of thousands, even though it's already happened. Alright? These people have not considered that thousands have already died. The Battle of the Burning Mill has happened. Cole went on a rampage across the coast, and he's probably killed close to 1,000 people. All right? At least a few hundred people died when Rhaenys showed up and killed all those soldiers at Rook's Rest, which is a different story. But thousands of people have already died. I don't understand what's stopping her from... You remember that face she made at the end of Season 1? Yeah, that was a face that should have said, I'm going to kill anybody and everybody who had anything or remotely anything to do with the death of my son. Oh yeah, your son is dead, by the way. But a son for a son. You remember that last scene in Season 2 where she's like, a son for a son? It's amazing how little Jaehaerys' death haunts the narrative. All right? Aegon just goes back to being his plain old self. I mean, he's drinking and he's philandering outside in the city with his buddies, and everything's all back to normal, except it's not back to normal, is it? This child is dead. This scene was supposed to be the thing that haunts you. It keeps you on the edge of your seat, because the enemy is literally in the walls. Instead, Jaehaerys' death is passed on over, and Rhaenyra asks for a son, and Alicent gives it to her. She gives both of their... I'll talk about that idiot later. But Rhaenyra has no characters. And that's not like saying that she's a flawless character. She's got plenty of flaws. She's dull, boring, and all that shit. Right? But she has no drive. She has no empathy that I can feel for her. Not in this season, nothing at all. And least of all, this should not be the figurehead for the black side. She needs to be more interesting, and she needs to be more conflicting. Why don't you show her being incompetent? Why don't you show her falling for tricks of Cole and shit? Why don't you show her actually being useful sometimes? Oh no, she's this perfect little person. Oh, she's done nothing wrong. Blah, blah, blah. Boring old character. Number 2, Alicent Lowtower. Yeah, that's right. There's nothing high about this woman. All right, she was fun in season 1. She was very fun in Driftmark Alicent is book Alicent verbatim. She's protecting her children. She's being cunning, evil. She is going to kill Rhaenyra with a knife. All right? That was Alicent at her best, saying shit like, he's our son. He's your son, Viserys, and she wants an eye for an eye. Yeah, that was Alicent, the woman who fiercely protected her children. All right, the woman who was willing to do anything. She was willing to kill the princess, the heir to the throne, to protect her children. She was willing to do all. Can you stop? She was willing to do all that, and then episode 9 and 10, she just loses her goddamn autonomy all of a sudden because the writers don't like having strong women in strong roles. And then in season 2, she's this weird character. In season 2 begins, they're already halfway through the goddamn affair with Cole. Which, listen, I'll be upfront here. Do I mind Alicent? No. Especially after Fabian's or Cole's monologue in the last episode. I think they could have done it very well, but they didn't do it very well, did they? They did it awfully, because they don't know how to write a romance. They could have written this forbidden romance, whatever, that's whatever. But the point is that Alicent has no drive whatsoever. In episode 2, after Jaehaerys is already dead, she is immediately thinking about Rhaenyra. You remember that line she says, what if the person being blamed is not truly responsible? Whatever the shit it is. All right, she says that line, and it's almost like she's cementing in her idea. It's like, oh no, Rhaenyra can't do this. Oh, she can't, my best friend can't do this. Oh yeah, my best friend can't do this. She can't kill my grandson. She can't kill the son. Yeah, you remember when Aemon killed Luke? Yeah, she could definitely do that. There's nothing that is showing of her. You haven't seen this idiot in ages. She could do whatever she wants. You don't know her at all. I don't know her at all. And I know whatever. All right? That's that. And then in episode 3 and 4, she gets all pissy at Aegon, and she's like, oh, you should make me regent. But, oh, sorry, that happens after Aegon's thing. But, in episode 3, she's like, oh, people will die, and all that good stuff. And then the Sept scene is ridiculous. I mean, she doesn't capture Rhaenyra. Alicent could have ended the goddamn war in episode 3 had she used 1% of her brain. But no, the writers want these two idiots to keep going back together and together because they're like magnets and they keep attracting. And so they decide not to have Alicent capture Rhaenyra. Yeah, for all intents and purposes, Rhaenyra is the woman who killed Jaehaerys. And she's going to be the one who will kill all your sons. All right, that's on you, you moron. And then in episode 4, she's, really twisted with Aegon. Oh, do whatever is asked of you, and that is nothing. Just pout around, you idiot. No comforting to her sons, nothing about her children. She doesn't even care about Aegon. Alicent commits the most brain-dead move of the dance by not capturing Rhaenyra at the Sept. She then basically forces Aegon into a crippled state, and then in episode 5, when she's not made regent, she gets sad, and then in episode 6 and 7, she swims and walks around. I could not care about her at all. And then in episode 8, she leaves the city, because that's just something you can do now. She leaves the goddamn city, and then she goes to Rhaenyra. She says, I'll let you walk into King's Landing if you don't cause any bloodshed. Rhaenyra then says, I won't cause any bloodshed, but I want to kill Aegon and Aemond. And then Alicent says, okay. She gave away both of her sons. Is this the character that I'm supposed to like? She has no backbone. She has no backbone whatsoever. There is nothing to her that I enjoy. You know what? For all intents and purposes, Alicent Hightower died on Driftmark. And that's where the story ends. Because right after that, nothing came of it. All right, who's left? Oh yeah, Helaena. Helaena is autistic. Oh, she can't feel emotion because she's autistic. She can't mourn her dead child because she's autistic. Oh, look at poor little dreamer here. Look at this autistic kid running. Oh no, yeah, she can't have human emotions because of her autism. Have I told you that she has autism? Have I told you that she's neurodivergent? Have I told you that she's autistic? No, I haven't? Oh well, yeah, Helaena is autistic. That's all there is to her. Oh yeah, and she spoiled the entirety of the goddamn Battle of the God's Eye. When all of a sudden, this idiot can just see things? Can she just see things? She shows up in Daemon's dream. Daemon's dream, the guy who killed your son. She showed up in his dream and told him that you have to kill Aemond. Oh yeah, by the way, have I told you she's autistic? Rhaenys. Rhaenys is fiercely loyal to Rhaenyra. Why? We don't know. You know, Rhaenyra could have very well have Laenor killed. Laenor is dead, by the way. Laena died giving birth to Daemon's child, and yet she's loyal to the both of them. She comes in, she's willing to fight for her queen. Ah yes, rule, #slay and all that shit. No explanation whatsoever why she's this way. And yeah, and then she dies. She doesn't die the way she dies in the book. She's not toasted. She gets this heroic dragon rider's death. Alright? And I'll get to that. Who else is left? Yeah, Mysaria. Mysaria's only motivation is to kiss Rhaenyra and to help the small folk. Yeah, she has no ambition either. She's not that cunning, evil woman that was in the books. No, no, no. She's just a misunderstood female character because obviously she is. And she's she's actually really nice. You know, she takes care of people and, you know, she's a propaganda master. Oh, it's not propaganda. It's saving the small folk. Oh, yeah. And also, she's a really nice person. Have I told you that she's a really nice person, by the way? She's just a victim. There's nothing wrong with her. Not that there's anything wrong with being a victim. This isn't about that. This is about Mysaria having no goddamn drive whatsoever. She's supposed to be the devil on Rhaenyra's shoulder, but she isn't. She's just the lips on Rhaenyra's mouth. Whatever. Who's left? Baela, yes. Baela is the character who exists to remind us again and again that there is such a concept of a dragon rider's death. Well, no, there isn't. Alright? Laena, the two people who she keeps using as a goddamn... Helaena was the first one who came up with the dragon rider's death concept, which doesn't exist, by the way. I will make an infographic showing you how every single dragon rider died up until this point in Song of Ice and Fire, if canon is to be believed. And then I will show you... And then, right now, I'm going to tell you that concept of a dragon rider's death doesn't exist. Because all these people died of different things. Baelon had appendicitis. Alright? Aemon got shot in the neck with an arrow. Maegor died on the throne. Jaehaerys died of old age. Jaehaerys' elder brother Viserys... I don't think Viserys had a dragon up until this point. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Alright? Alyssa... Not Alyssa, what's her name? Who's Alicent Targaryen died of old age. Alright? Who else do we have? Viserys Targaryen died of leprosy. Who do we have left? Whatever, there's a ton of... Aegon the Conqueror died of old age. Rhaenys is the only person who actually died fighting on her dragon. And I'm pretty sure Aemon also died fighting on his dragon. If I'm not wrong, or mistaken, sorry, that's the word. I'll have to go back and double check. But, you know, Laena introduces this concept of dragon rider's death, and then the writers milk the living shit out of it. She gets burnt to death by her dragon. Alright? And then Rhaenys dies whilst fighting on her dragon. Alright? She doesn't get toasted. So, either the concept of a dragon rider's death doesn't exist, or Baela's just there because they can't give her any goddamn lines. The second one is what I'm inclined to believe, because she has no goddamn characteristic. She's just there. Oh, and she has a dragon, and so she has to be there. Rhaena is there to remind us that there is such a thing as a Targaryen without a dragon. Please feel bad for Rhaena. Please feel bad for Rhaena. She doesn't have a drag. She doesn't have a nuclear weapon. Please feel bad for this character. Oh, yeah, she also abandons the kids she's meant to protect, by the way. Yeah, and then she finds a dragon, and then she gives the weirdest goddamn face I've ever seen in my life. Whatever. Who do we have left? How many other women are there on this show? Huh? Nobody really of value, is there? Laena, I don't have anything against Laena. I mean, she died very, very early on in the series. Yeah, I guess that's it, really. That was about 15 minutes of me yelling at people who don't really exist. Good night.